Hi everyone, and welcome to Alliance Live, the online information and learning portal, showcasing examples of innovation and integrated working taking place across Scotland within health and social care. We continue the series of these 30-minute webinars, focusing on using social media and video platforms to help stay connected. Through live presentation and demonstrations, learn tips and tricks to help your people that you work with or yourself stay in touch with loved ones using digital tools. At this time of lockdown, we've all had to adapt to less traditional ways of communicating with one another, and this Alliance Live webinar from Chris Grant from AbilityNet will provide live demonstrations on how to make the most of a range of social media and video conferencing applications. Finally, as Chris delivers the presentation, we invite the audience to pose questions using the chat box, which can be found within the toolbar at the bottom of your window. These will make up the questions for the Q&A session, which will follow on for the presentations and bring our webinar to a close. So without further delay, passing it over to Chris.
Thank you, Nick. So as Nick said, my name is Chris Grant. I'm the Scotland Coordinator for UK charity AbilityNet, where we provide free technical help to anyone over the age of 55 and anyone with a disability. So this afternoon, what we're going to do is just go through a few different things that's come up to our attention over the last couple of weeks, in particular during COVID-19, where people have come to us to say we can't keep in touch with our friends and family. So we've said, well, let's look at doing something and trying to get that established. So first of all, using social media to connect with friends and family. 4 great things that I came across recently is every social media outlet and online programs such as apps where you can video chat with your friends and family. So, you know, we've got so many different things out there, and we'll touch on a few as we go through the session. You can have a group video chat with more than 2 people on most social media platforms available, and that now includes Facebook and Zoom and Teams, all 3 that you can use. Social media today more than ever is being used to communicate with friends and family, again via Instagram, mainly Facebook and Zoom. And social media and programs such as Zoom is being used as classes as an instant mood lifter in times of social isolation. So let me particularly focus on the 4th point, where we say social media and programs such as Zoom is being classed, I should say, as an instant mood lifter in time of social isolation. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a number of cases present to ourselves and to other organisations around isolation, and some of the stories are quite kind of quite sad when we hear of them. And one of the main things I kind of I struggle myself with. I'm 27, and hearing somebody say to us, we can't keep in touch with our family, our friends. I'm lucky enough to live with my family, so I know if I was in isolation, how I would feel personally, and it's something I certainly wouldn't want others to experience. However, speaking to some of our clients, they say to me, Chris, we just don't want to use technology. We're too scared to use technology. But at the same time, we want to kind of make that difference to support folks, and that's where hopefully you'll be able to support clients, your staff, your customers, in many different respects. Zoom has had its bad publicity, but Zoom itself is a very, very good piece of software. I personally love it due to how functional it is and how accessible it is, and it's very, very easy to use. It is one of the best apps you can use in this day and age to connect with friends and family, available through a multitude of platforms, whether it's using your computer or a tablet. You can use the app, and all you need to do is pop the code in. Again, people should not be afraid to use it. I think it's great that it offers lots of different plans, and one of the main things is it's free, the basic package, with unlimited meetings. Since COVID-19, Zoom have made several changes, and one of these changes are around the minutes to the meeting. So it's now, I think, it's up to the hour on the free platform. However, the paid version itself it's very affordable. It's $11.99, and you only need it if you're hosting it. people get quite easily confused, where they say, actually, we want to, to join a group, but it's just too expensive. Let's just make sure we're emphasising to people that it is free of charge to join as an individual. Well, what can you do? There's so much you can do, in my opinion. You can create a time for all your friends and family to connect. There's been a lot of examples around this. Around the breakfast, for example, breakfast meetings to discuss new things from an organisational side, but looking at it from a family and friends side, it's been used for quizzes, catch-ups. Even seen a murder mystery night, I think it was last week, being advertised. There's live cookery demonstrations. There's so much you can do with Zoom, and really, I don't think people understand the best grasp of it. I find personally myself, it's one of the best to be used across social isolation, because then you don't have to sign up for an account to use Zoom neither. Like Facebook, where you would have to sign up to use Messenger. Talking about Facebook, so Facebook, it's getting used much more. I know for a fact I'm on it a lot during the day, and there's lots of new users coming around, and it's great to see a lot of the older generation coming on board and using Facebook. To me, it's absolutely great. We've got friends and family who've just recently joined it who said to me, Chris, we'd never joined Facebook because we simply just would be afraid to break it. And we've seen some really nice positive stories coming out of it, and a lot of great things. The security element of Facebook, in my opinion, is very tight. And it will give you the notification if somebody tries to log in, and with a multitude of passwords, then it will drop you an email to say, listen, somebody's trying to log in, and this is their location, is this you? And if you click no, it will automatically lock the account until you can do a validation on the account. So it's really, really good. The group side is being used more and more, particularly around COVID-19 response groups. COVID-19 response groups have been great, so people sharing best practice and what communities are doing. So Facebook is being used more and more around the social isolation element to take part in groups online. So I've seen book groups switch to Facebook, and they post pictures and video kind of tutorials on different stories, and I think it's fantastic, and authors are taking part. And last but not least, Messenger to Facebook is vital. Messenger has developed itself, I think, quite a lot over the last few years. You can video call people quite easily now. The audio is very, very clear. And overall, the Messenger side, it's very simple to use. And certainly, I feel, people don't break it, and can be used, again, on the laptop, mobile, tablet, anything along the lines like that. Facebook portal. So we're still talking about Facebook. Facebook portal has been out about for a while now, and Facebook portal have created new versions of this great device, and a very affordable device for friends and family to keep in touch with their loved ones and friends. Lots of great things you can do on the portal. So you've got Spotify, you can listen to music and download the apps, use the internet quite freely. But keep in touch with your friends and family is the main one. And there's been lots of great videos, where one recently on the TV, you may have seen a family member cooking in the kitchen with their family in another country. And it was really good to see, and you could see the reaction it brought to the family's face to see their loved ones so easily and being able to take part in things. I've seen the portal being used in games nights, where family, for example, in Edinburgh and Glasgow, I can talk about it from a Highland perspective, where I'm based in Invergordon in the Highlands. It's been, a friend of mine used the portal to play, I think it was either Monopoly or Cluedo, can't remember, it was sometime last week. And they were able to, it was almost like they were there. I spoke to the family about it, and they says it was so realistic, and it was great. So Facebook portal is like essentially a small tablet, with the exception of Facebook TV. So these devices are smart displays, similar to the Echo Show. They're devices that are styled to look like a digital photo frame and sit nicely in your home, as you'll see on the photo there to the right hand side. It's very easy. You just pop it on, and it doesn't look out of place at all in your home. All the Facebook Portal devices feature AI-powered smart camera and smart sound technologies. So this kind of enables the camera to recognize people and then follow them around the room while automatically panning and zooming in, which minimizes the background noise and enhances the video of whoever is calling. So the background noise is a big one because tablets don't automatically do that in itself. And over the last few weeks, I've seen more and more about the Portal. The sound is crystal clear. It's even clearer than a telephone call. I've been really impressed with the sound of it, and the video is just exceptionally clear to enhance your use. So again, you either use your Portal to call your Facebook friends and connections on Messenger, or even your WhatsApp contacts, even if they do not have a portal. So not all your friends and family would need a portal. I think it's better if it's portal to portal, in all honesty, because you can do quite a bit more in regards to, it feels more real, as I would class it. You get that better hands-on. But I was using Messenger earlier on today, talking to a friend I've not seen in weeks. And again, I was on my mobile, he was on his Portal. Couldn't have been any clearer. Loved it. It was great to just to see him and have a chat with him. I thoroughly do recommend the Portal. And when you're not in a call, Portal can display photos and videos. And it will also show you when your contacts are available to connect. So it'll tell you the birthdays. I'll give you reminders, which is always handy because I forget birthdays quite a lot. So it's a clever piece of kit to use. One of the good things I said at the beginning of the Portal section was Facebook Portal it can be used for photos and videos. You can just have it literally sitting on a shelf or sitting on on a fireplace, and have photos that you and your loved ones or your loved ones have taken, and they can share directly to your screen. So it's clever. It's a new innovative way of technology, and Facebook, in my opinion, have done it very well. Making time to chat is, I know this kind of diverges a wee bit away. I just want to emphasize around, making time just to chat with your friends and family via FaceTime, Skype, Zoom. It helps with isolation. And for a lot of the older community, a simple call can help, just by even phoning and saying hello. I talked to a couple of our church congregation who told me they felt so isolated and out of it because they'd not seen their friends. And, just by giving 5 minutes of your time, a call a week will make such a difference. And if you come across someone who's got technology but doesn't know how to use it, take some time, just explain briefly how it works. Or like I say, there are services like ourselves. The RNIB offer a very similar service for people who are visually impaired. And the Scottish Tech Army, who are doing a great job too. So there are various organisations out there, but if you can take 5-10 minutes just to go through, right, this is how you get onto email, this is how you do X, Y, and Z. So just make time to have a brief chat with them around technology, because it can be quite daunting. So one of my favourite devices out there just now is a Comp device. And you're probably going, what is Comp? Comp is on the photo on the right-hand side. I've been lucky enough to trial one of them. And it's a one-button computer made specifically for isolated individuals who have little to no experience of using smartphones, computers, and tablets. And with the Comp, the entire family, and this is the part I like, can easily connect to the device through an app to send photos, messages, and make two-way video calls to, for example, to grandma, to grandpa. I've seen a lot in the last few weeks being used, which we'll show you a video shortly. And this portal, this COMP device, as you can see there on the right-hand side, the dial to the right, and the black dial down at the bottom right-hand side in the silver panel, is the only thing that the end user will need to touch to switch it on. And you can see that this picture that somebody called Oliver has sent to their granny from where they've been walking, and you can do this through the COMP app, which I'll touch on in a moment. So you can do so much. It's very much like the portal. One-way button, grown old, our bodies change. Dry fingertips make it really hard to touch, to use touchscreens. Vision and hearing impairments make it hard to see and hear. But what happens on an average tablet or a computer screen? The COMP, as I say, it's only got the one button, as explained, high contrast screen and clear audio, so that the senior can use the device and see and hear the content. And how the COMP works is, your loved one could get the COMP device. Now, you do not need to have a broadband line in physically to your line. Mobile broadband does work in it, as I've tested. And all you need to do, simply tell your loved ones to essentially put the plug in at the wall, turn that little button to change the contrast to whatever suits them. There will be a code demonstrated on the screen, which will be shown. And what will then happen is, once you give that code to the older person or whoever you give the COMP device to initially to give that device at least, will enable that person then to connect to them. You'll need to give that person the code once. Then after that, once you've given the code, you're on the contact list. So if the COMP is online, e.g. switched on, you can make contact without without your friends and family needing to actually click accept a call or reject a call. It will come up on the screen that such and such is calling in 10 seconds and give you a countdown, and then connect you so they can see you and you can see them. It's really, really good. I would encourage you to have a look at the tutorials on YouTube. And it's no username or no password. So most products require usernames and passwords for anything from logging into using apps, automatic updates, bringing new and foreign layouts. But COMP requires no username or password to use, and it has no changing layouts or error messages. To me, that is a big one, because people forget usernames. People forget passwords. So again, it's a great way of doing it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a video on the COMP device of just how this individually made a big change to somebody's life. It's only 44 seconds, and it shows an older man being able to keep in touch with his granddaughter, and the granddaughter couldn't do anything about to support his granddaughter. But again, let me show you the video. Here we go. If technology allows me this time, I hope. Okay, here it is.
Flagg fuglekassa. Hålla hammaren helt nederst, icke överst.
So as you can see there, a granddaughter not being able to use, to put the birdhouse together properly, and was able to connect to their friend, to her granddad, who was able to give a bit of support. Although you didn't hear that part, it's the same principle. And again, I think it was it's lovely when we see that, you know, just by giving, you know, that little bit of empowerment. It is really, really special. So I hope that has met your expectations this afternoon. I didn't want to go too much into various things, but I just wanted to give you a brief background of what's available out there. And now, Nick, I'm more than happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Chris. That brings us to the end of the presentation section and on to the Q&A portion of the webinar. Just checking down at the toolbar. So we have one question in from Maggie Wright, who asks, what is the screen size of the comp?
Now that is a great question, because there is a new size comp coming out in July, I think it's going to be. So it's currently at 17 inches, so it's just slightly bigger than a standard laptop size. So currently, I should also say, the current comp costs £599 a unit, but in July, the newer model will be £399. But I have heard the sales have been quite high. So that's really, really good. But great question. Thank you, Maggie.
And Maggie follows that up with, does comp do away with all other things such as Zoom and Facebook Messenger?
It sure does. It sure does. Because you don't, you know, it will not have other apps. It's just got that one, you know, the one kind of capacity to share photos and to make video calls. So that's the only thing it will allow you to do.
That's great, Chris. We'll just wait another couple of seconds just to see if some more questions come in. Yep, and so we've got one final question from Maggie. So do the other callers need to have a comp device?
No, they don't. Just as long as they've got the comp app, which is free to use. It's downloadable both on Android and iOS, and it's very, very easy to use.
That's great. Maggie, is there any other questions from yourself?
I just think while we're waiting for Maggie if anyone has any questions, please do get in touch with AbilityNet, with myself. More than happy to have a chat. v.scotland@abilitynet.org.uk is my email. So more than happy to have a chat with anyone in regards to that.
We've also got another question coming in from Lorraine Nelson. What's your thoughts on Microsoft Teams?
Lorraine, I love it. I absolutely think it's fantastic. Wasn't sure to begin with, and Teams came across as, to me at first, a bit daunting to use. I like the good old Skype, but Teams is just so much, you know, it's so flexible to do, you know, to use, to share things, you know, to make sure, you know, you don't need to send an email attachment. You can just upload it to the Teams, and it's actually very accessible. I love it personally now. So I wasn't sure, like I say, I think Teams has become almost like my brother, and obviously Zoom's become like my sister. So it's, you know, it's used so much. It's really, really good. So Lorraine, if you're not using Teams at the moment, or you are using Teams, do give it a wee bit of time, and you will love it. I can reassure you that one.
That's great, Chris. So we've got some Maggie Wright's got a few more questions. First, what voice recognition and subtitling software was used today?
It's a great piece of software. It's called Microsoft PowerPoint. PowerPoint now allows you to automatically do the subtitling. It's to me, it's usually 100%. I was shown it a couple of weeks ago. I recommend just having a shot, you know, play around with it. When you go into, you need to be in presenter mode on the PowerPoint. But Maggie, if you'd like some help even setting it up, get in touch with me, and I can easily show you how to use that. It's no problem.
And one final question from Mag again. What would you say Microsoft Teams, would you say Microsoft Teams is more for business and Facebook groups is for friends and families?
Teams is more, I would say, is focused on business and third sector and charity. I wouldn't necessarily Facebook groups is for friends and families. I would actually say something like Zoom is more like for friends and families. To keep in touch if it's video call you're talking about, Maggie. Certainly wouldn't say that, you know, one's better than the other, because they both have their separate purpose of use. So again, you can use Teams as an individual, long as you've got a 365 license by Microsoft. So, you know, even if you're an individual connecting with friends and family, you can still use Teams, and that's no problem to do.
That's great, and thank you everyone for those questions as well. That brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you to Chris for delivering the fantastic presentation and answering those questions. I hope it's provided some insight and takeaways to bring to your own lives and organisations. One final time, Chris, would you be able to share that email address so if people do have further questions, they can send it to you?
Yeah, of course. So my email is v.scotland@abilitynet.org.uk, and what I'm going to probably do, which is going to be even better, is I've just shared my screen there, so the email is now displayed on your screen. So it's v.scotland@abilitynet.org.uk.
That's great, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Nick.
And goodbye, everyone else, and thank you for joining too.